Well, hello, Dave. There you go. Welcome, welcome. So good to see you, Sunflower Marsha. Hi, good evening to you. Oh, yeah, another Monday. It is a glorious Monday of the end of February. Oh my goodness, can you believe that we're already here? Hi, Carrie. How are you doing? Sorry, I didn't recognize that. Notice I had all of that stuff behind me. I'm in the process of going through my den and my office den, whatever, and redoing a lot of things in here. So I'm like cleaning through stuff and purging and moving stuff around. So you'll have to excuse the mess. Sorry. But I'm trying not to be a hot mess here. So I'm here for you guys. I know you can see all my stuff. Right. Liza, hello. How are you? Good evening. How are all those piggies doing? Did she have her litter yet? Is that what it is? A litter? Did Did she have her babies yet? I saw that on Instagram, I think. So you were waiting and waiting and waiting. So, but if you're on here, probably not because otherwise you'd be out there with her, right? My guess. So it was actually oh, we had a mixed bag of things today. We had started out with some freezing rain, and now it's clear and gorgeous sunset, and the sun's going down and everything. So, oh, huh, I'm not even used to it. It's been light out, so there we go. A little extra light here. That's the one that puts the the circles in my glasses, so I have to kind of sit somewhere else. So, hey, Alicia, how are you? Donna, hi. Oh no, 1 a.m. till now. Oh my goodness. Oh, so she did have them. Okay. Ooh, was she a first time mama? If you had to do that much, that's hard when you have to end up doing all of that. So today you're wearing shorts. Oh my goodness. Well, we have about 28 degrees here right now. Um, Sunny, there's a low wind coming. We're supposed to start getting snow again tomorrow, um, shortly after noon, so midday. And through Wednesday, it sounds like through good through half a Wednesday anyway. So I don't know how much we're supposed to get, but oh, Donna, that's so sweet of you to do that. That's very, very fun. I will let that show because Liza, you used one of those words that YouTube doesn't like. So it was like, it's okay. Oh my goodness, it's going through your house, Alicia. I'm so sorry. But oh, she won't be a mama again. Yeah, that's too hard on her. Hey, Michigan Daffodil. Hello, how are you? Miss T from Nebraska. Oh, that's so sweet. The big C. Oh, yeah, not that word. It was something else. So, anyway, yeah, I don't want to say it, otherwise I might get a strike. But I think Eliza knows what it is. So, anyway, yes, hello guys. We had snow last week. We had snow, and we had snow. Um, my other Minnesota. Very good, Dave. The P word. Oh my goodness. They're just, they're nutsy, right? There are other things that they just allow through, swearing and stuff, but ooh, name a body part, and it's like, nope, can't do that. So, Deborah, hello. Snow and wind, yes. We had it started Monday night, I think shortly after I got off with you guys. And so, first wave by Tuesday morning, I hit 3 inches, and then started up again. And by Wednesday, morning. I had another 5 inches through Tuesday night. So got up Wednesday morning, shoveled out again. So shoveled out Tuesday morning, had 5 inches then on Wednesday morning, shoveled out with all that, and then Wednesday afternoon started it again through Thursday noon, and that was another foot of snow. So total snowfall last week was 20 inches. It was crazy. I don't have any place for it to go anymore. I can't. Where my neighbor plows up, it gets the plow bank up and shoves it up. It's like it's as high as the roof of my shed, and there's nowhere else for it to go. So you keep getting 2 to 4 inches here. So you had freezing rain most of today. Hey, Bonnie, how are you? Yes, running out of space to push it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Son Logan was in Michigan an hour away. We took him out for. Oh, you got it. You got to spend time with your kids. Absolutely. Family always comes first. Most definitely. So, you got a little over 15. Yeah, we got, and then just half hour north of me, they got about half of what I did. So, but anyway, yes, lots of snow. Go out for 2 hours at a time and get one section of it done, and then I go out for another hour and a half and get another section, and then I have to rake the roof. So I am trying to find another, and maybe somebody here knows where I could find one. I'm trying to find another section for my roof rake. Mine is a 3-foot or 3-section rake. The handle is, and it's 15 feet long. So each section is 5 feet. And I really need to get one more. So I have 20-foot rake that I can use to reach up a little higher on my roof. On Amazon, they want like $75 for a 5-foot section. And it's like, I think I paid $35 or $40 for my whole roof rake. And it's like, I am not going to pay that. I mean, I should be able to go out for like $10 or $15 and just get a middle section of it, right? Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Dave, about your daughter. Yes, the ice. So like Friday night, it was like 20 below or something. And then today it was raining, but freezing. And it was like, it's crazy. I have so much weird words. So the drifts were, 3 feet in areas. Yeah. Yes, I do, Dave, for part of it. See, my house is an old farmhouse. It was a T shape. And then on these sections, they added. And so where the roofs for the T are pretty steep. And I don't have any problem with the snow on that. So they do pretty well. It's the add-ons, the additions that they made them the grade much less. And the east side does pretty good, but it's the west side. And it's got to be the way the snow comes in or something, because most of our storms, most of them will blow east to west. And so then it like comes over the roof and then just settles down in there. Then when I get northwest winds too, it will just like stopgap there too. So it's like I can't win, but there's a lot of snow up there right now. Where you go, you get hit hard so many times. I know it's keep piping at Home Depot. I have not checked Home Depot yet. Checked Amazon. There's a possibility that Ace Hardware can get it for me. They don't have it here, but so I'm just, because I don't want to buy a whole new rake. I mean, it's what am I to do with 2 of them? I don't really want. So clear the lower 1/3 most of the time to avoid ice dams. Yes. And I was able to reach that for this time to help out with that. But the other part is the weight of it on the upper part of the slope. That it's I'm just concerned about the weight of it on the roof there. So, um, will the company that made it have parts? I should look at. I don't know what the name of the brand is because I've had it for years. So I'm not sure if I could even see what's on there. I don't know. So, um, so true, Dave. Yes, it does work like a snow fence. And then I have trees on either side, so it's like just yeah, it drops right in there. Um, Patty, is Patty here? I missed you there. So, um, well, I don't see you, but anyway, so hello. Galvanized pull is cheap if you can find to fit. Yeah, and see they have the you know, the little holes that when you clip it in there, you know, it pops up the little thingy in the hole and stuff to keep them in there. So, Mindy, hello. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hey, Grandma Karen. Good evening to you. Mindy, I hope you get feeling better soon. I really do. Yeah, I don't know. I've got some wind here, and so my TV is not, it's digitizing a lot. So I can't really watch, you know, at least anything that needs the antenna on it. So movies and stuff are fine, but anything I need the antenna for, it's not being cooperative. But anyway, so anybody else have like storms that coming up or things that you have to watch for? We just have, you know, another alert for this week. It's just crazy. Oh, you're welcome, Mindy. Just hope, yeah, it's that time of year, you know. That we start getting worn down from the winter. We a lot of times they're not getting as much fresh air as we should be. Uh, we start on the days that are really nice. We start getting outside. I mean, like when I was shoveling, you know, I think it was maybe 5 degrees or something above 0 Fahrenheit. And, but you're out there working, I have snow pants on, everything. Pretty soon, you know, I'm down to my sweatshirt, no hat, and I'm just out working. And it's like, but then you don't really, you know, you stop for a while, and all of a sudden the cold starts filling in and get chilled, and it was like, whew, it's crazy. So last week we started. Anyway, the snow as when they were starting at the beginning of last week, they were talking about this being a historic snowstorm. I mean, it was like, I swear, half of our meteorologists are from Florida or California or something like that, where they're just like, oh, it's going to be more than 6 inches of snow. You know, it's like, oh no. And it's like those of us who native Minnesotans were just like, oh man. I mean, I remember when I was in high school, we had, and Donna, you might remember this too. I don't know, but there was, it would have been in around 1975, no, 70, 75, 74, 75, something like that. There was a 3-day blizzard, and I mean, it was, winds were howling. It was windy and 85 below wind chills and snow, snow, snow. And people were trapped. My dad was trapped in the cities in Minneapolis. And anyway, all it was said and done, after all it was said and done, at our high school, I think the roof line was probably at 20 feet or something like that, because it was, you know, kind of a single story and then went down into it. But anyway, the drifts were equal to the roof at the school. And I remember that. It was just like, oh, man, it was crazy. 1978? No, because I was still in high school. I graduated in 76. But yeah, you have more. Oh, hey, Matt and Sarah, there you are. Oh, you have more snow when you were younger? Yeah. It it was really just, I mean, there was a lot of snow Thursday. That one we had a lot, but and it was a full 12 inches, and there were other places that were 18 to 36 inches deep, that we had to dig through. But that's really nothing new for Minnesota. It really isn't. 1991, you lived through that storm in October. I heard about that. I was in Louisiana, and we went through really, really like tornadoes and flooding and stuff like that with that storm. So it was all the way from Louisiana to Minnesota, that whole storm front. And I heard about that. I wasn't here, but oh my goodness, I keep hearing about that Halloween snowstorm that you guys got. It was crazy. 72, it could have been 72 or 73. I was trying to remember if my brother was still in high school. I thought he was. I thought he was a senior, which would have been like 74. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So it wasn't too terrible in Red Wing. I think the weather people like to entertain drama. Yes. Yes, Grandma Karen, I think so. Since when did you get wind advisories? When does all... I like that. Since when did you guys get wind advisory? I mean, it's one thing for us to get it up here, when we have 30 or 40 mile an hour winds, and it's like the wind chill is going to hit 52 below zero. And it's like, okay, we need to know that there's a wind chill advisory. It's like, dress warm. Don't be stupid. Don't sit out on your back step and have a picnic. It's like, okay. So, but really in the South, oh, yeah, your wind advisories. Yeah. You have blizzards in 78, 96 there. Yeah. So when Katie was a baby at 39 inches, whoo, a white one. Wow. Nor'easters. Oh, there's Patty. Hi. We soon forget as we're going through it now. The bad weather is always, it has. It has. I mean, all you have to do is go back historically, even hurricanes and different things. I mean, in the early 1900s or late 1800s, that, Galveston was wiped out, just all of those kinds of places. And, the Gulf Coast. And we've had blizzards here. I think they said, was it 1940? Donna, you might remember, or Vonnie. I think it was 1940. There was a very serious blizzard here. It was 40 or 41, somewhere around there. Anyway, it was like warm, unseasonably warm. And I want to say it was in November, but it was like 70s, 60s or 70 degrees, something like that. And all of a sudden the wind picked up, the barometer started dropping and started dropping and dropping. And within just hours, like 2 or 3 hours, it just plummeted, and the snow hit, and people were stranded everywhere. And it was Armistice Day. What date is that, Armistice? I can't remember. So, but anyway, it blew in when, I want to say like within 3 hours or something, it went from the 70s down to close to zero, I want to say, and then plummeted below zero. But the winds came in, and they got a ton of snow and the winds, and people couldn't see. And this was, they didn't have the road systems that we have today and different things. So yeah, hunters died in the snow. So it must have been, I'm thinking November. It was early November or something. Okay, Matt, Sarah, you remember that too. Yep. So it was, at least you don't have to build an ark. Exactly. So, I mean, things have happened before. It's part of the nature of the planet that we live on, and stuff just goes. So, oh, okay. I couldn't remember if that was, I was thinking Armistice Day was I was thinking it was like the end of World War II, but that's not it. That was something else. So, but Yes, it was huge. It said it killed 154 people. November 11th. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Hey, Kathy, how are you doing? 1940s. I remember. It's November in 1940. I was okay. Thank you, Bunny. Um, yeah. So I mean, it was so they didn't have the meteorological abilities that they do now or anything. So people were out and about. Like you said, hunters were out. Kids were at school, people at work, all this other kind of stuff. And so yeah, it was. I mean, now we have plenty of notice. They freak out and a lot more than what they need to, I think. So anyway, it's snow. We know to just like, okay, there's a blizzard coming in. Just get ready, just hunker down at home, just stay off the roads, wait till it passes, dig out and go on, and that's what we do. It's just like you wait it out, you dig out, and then life goes on. So it's like, oh, called Remembrance Day. Okay. Veterans. That's what it was. Okay. Um, well, thank you guys. Thank you. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. So last week we were talking about soaking seeds and scarification and what to do with the seeds, and why you would want to do that to degrade the shell of a seed to help it germinate faster, all that kind of stuff. We talked briefly. Right, Dave. Yep. Yeah. I know you just have to be, watchful. It's like just make sure you've got enough water and batteries and all this other kind of stuff, and just make sure you're all set. But anyway, so one of the things that we had kind of briefly talked about. Hi, Caitlin. Um, I know you are a great one, Dave, for doing stratification. I know that you do that, and I want you to weigh in on this one a lot tonight because I would like to know a lot of times like why you do it, what seeds you do it with, um, and what your benefits are that you find, what helps you, all that kind of stuff. So that we've got somebody in there. Okay, so you have asparagus seeds in the freezer right now. You've done apples and other things before. So trees, that when you said apples, trees are a very, very good seed to think about if you want to be growing trees. Take the seeds from those to help them get going. Um, so stratification is basically, a scarification was like maybe take sandpaper and damage the hull or something of it and soak them, and so to help them germinate faster. Stratification is a process of pre-treating your seeds in order to simulate natural conditions that seeds would experience in the soil over winter. So think of really, so most trees they would like lose their. Well, let's take an apple tree or something. The apples fall, the on the ground. The apples might rot a little bit or something like that, and the seeds rot with just go with that. They go into the soil, get into the ground. They're over winter, and in the spring, all of a sudden, then it kind of wakes it up, and they start growing. They start germinating everything. And it's the type of seed that needs to have that dormancy. It needs to be dormant over winter in order for it to then say, hey, okay, it's time to grow. Because, we get our seeds in the packets and everything's all nice and dry and they're room temperature, all that kind of thing. There's some seeds that that will do so much better. Sometimes maybe that they need it completely, but they'll do so much better if you make them think that they are overwintering. And so it's like putting them in the freezer or even just in the refrigerator or something like that. You're welcome, Alicia. Um, did I miss something? So, can be grown indoors. I don't think you'd be able to do them. Yeah, you have to move it outside. I don't think it'll grow indoors, but yeah, start it. So, people put seeds in the fridge, mocking cold weather, and then plant. Yep, yep. So, like I said, the other one you're soaking the seed, preparing it so that it will germinate faster. This one you're pretending that you're creating a winter like situation for it, because these particular seeds, like especially tree seeds, need to be dormant. They need to fall into the ground. They need to overwinter and everything. And there are some seeds that you can actually like sow in your garden in the fall, and then just let them go. And in the spring, they will come up. And so, yep, you're simulating winter. Absolutely. Thank you, Dave. Um, yeah, so you want to, give them that chance. There are a couple different ways that you can simulate this winter and everything. But they, to kind of move them along to what we call break the dormancy and things like that. You started with 18 crowns. You collect and sow the seeds each year. Now you, wow. So do you can your asparagus then, Dave, or do you just eat it fresh and share with everybody? Or what do you do? That is a lot of asparagus. Oh my goodness. You guys must love asparagus, so too. So anyway, the different kinds of treatments that you can do, but stratification um, are applied when the seed is like being propagated in a greenhouse. So just like Dave is trying to get his asparagus started in his little greenhouse inside before it gets planted outside. So he's pretending there's winter for it and making it think that it's winter, and then getting it going planted. So anyway, it's breaking up the natural cycle of the winter and different things like that. I would say too, Patty, it depends on what the seed is too. There's different lengths of time, but usually a minimum is 30 days. So a minimum of a month. I would say the average is about 3 months. Some even need a little bit longer, but they usually say 1 to 3 months. Um, Sometimes even up to 4 months. So again, just depends what it needs to be. So there are a couple different types of this. We have dry stratification and moist stratification. So the dry is when you keep the seeds dry, but you put them in a cold, dry storage, and you keep them at 32 degrees or lower. So, yep, the apples, absolutely, is a good one. So, um, sorry, I get distracted. I've got my notes here in the chat here, and it's like bouncing back and forth, and so I get distracted, and that's okay. So you have to put them in a dry container. So you need to keep them at 32 degrees or lower for a period of a month or longer. Again, 30 to 120 days. This simple treatment of keeping the seeds in cold, dry storage helps increase the germination rates by imitating a natural winter dormant period. So, like I said, if you have the seeds in a packet and you want to just go ahead and start them inside before you transplant them, it's not going to recognize that it has been through that dormant period. And so it might not germinate because it's waiting for those special conditions to happen. Remember last week we talked about how there's a lot of seeds that have to have specific temperatures, specific daylight, specific things in order for them to germinate. And every seed is different. And these are ones that need to have that cold, that dormancy and everything. Just being in a seed packet, in your box or whatever you have going on, is not really going to be sufficient. It needs to have, um, I don't know. There's like an intelligence in that. We talked about that last week too. An intelligent design within the seed, that they know exactly what they need and when they need to go. So you could get some germination out of it if you didn't do it, but it's not going to be nearly as good or as effective as if you did some stratification on that. Yeah, gotta let them develop. So many native prairie species require only dry stratification, and this can be accomplished in temperate climates by storing the seed in Ziploc bags in a refrigerator or in a rodent-proof container, like in your shed or garage or something if you're in cold climates. So it's going to stay below freezing for at least a month during that. And it again depends on the species of your um, not of the rodents, but of the seed. Most warm season prairie grasses and wildflowers require only 30 to 60 days. So get that. I mean, even something that would be in a prairie grass in, say, northern Louisiana or, Arkansas or something like that. They still need to 1 to 2 months of dry stratification to break that dormancy and different things. So, hey, Deborah. Um, Hi, Jamie. How are you? Thank you. Um, so you could put it like in a garage, in a bin or something like that. At least here we could. For Patty, that would not work. So you'd have to keep it like either in the freezer or in the refrigerator or something like that. Refrigerator is still, it's above freezing, so freezer would be much better. So you have in a freezer just dedicated to seeds, but really it doesn't take that much. I mean, you're in a little Ziploc bag. Now, on one of the links that I put in there, make sure that, because in the show notes below, I have different resources there, and one showed like how to put it in your Ziploc baggie and like how to mark it and everything. But make sure, yes, that you label your bags so you know what seed it is, because you won't recognize it in 4 months from when you pull it out and everything. So perennials need stratification much more than annuals. That makes a lot of sense. That really does. Milk carton seed starting and put in the snow. Well, there you go. If you're buying seed, the seller would do it for you. If you're saving seed, you kind of need to look up each plant. Okay. Thank you, guys. Garlic needs stratification. Yes. So, and that, a clove of garlic in essence really is kind of a seed. It's a pod type of deal. But yes, so you plant it in the fall, it overwinters, and it comes up. That's a good description there, Dave. What other ones would be? I'm trying to think. So anyway, I move on here. So then there's moist stratification. So that was dry. If you're just taking the dry seeds, putting them in a baggie, keeping them in a cold spot, which is really easy to do. I mean, that's just remember, also I would write on the baggie the date that you put it in there, so that when you're looking through, you can remember, excuse me, how long it's been in, because you might think, oh, it's been 2 months already, and it might be 28 days or something like that. Or you might lose them in there somewhere if somebody gets in there and starts tossing stuff around in the freezer, and all of a sudden you're like, I thought I had seeds in there, and you can't find them until 3 years later or something like that. And then it's like, oh, I think they've been frozen a little bit long here. That is a long winter. Okay. Moist stratification. Many prairie seeds germinate best when seeded in the fall in a dormant seeding. The exposure to cold, damp conditions over the winter is a nature's moist stratification. So you get the cold, damp stuff going on. And it signals to the seed that it is time to germinate when the soil warms up in the spring. Some wildflowers need this process more than others. A moist stratification seed treatment is used to mimic the effect that winter bestows upon the seed. And it's a process wherein the seed is mixed with moistened inert material like fresh sawdust, builder's sand, vermiculite, peat moss, or something else like that, and then stored cold for 10 days to 3 months. So that's got a little bit shorter of a time there. But you put it in a moist thing. You don't want it so wet that you are squeezing out moisture. That you squeeze it and there's water dripping out. That's too wet. But you do want it a little bit moist in there. And so you've got, you've got something that's going with it. Whereas the other one, the dry one, is just the seed, keeping it dry in a baggie or something. So this one would be, again, with some other material in there. So if you were to plant it outside in the fall, like direct seeding, it achieves the same results. So you don't have to do this. You don't have to do any type of preparation to the seed if you're planning on planting it in the fall. Like, let's say, Dave had all of his asparagus seed, and he could truly just put a lot of it in the ground, right, Dave? You could just seed the soil there where you wanted to have it growing, and then in the spring it would start coming up. But the thing is, Dave wants to be able to get the plants going faster and get them started and give them a better start. So he's got some plants that can actually put in, but he could do an easy way out and just sprinkle them in the ground and they would start coming up. So that's the difference between the two kinds of stratification there. So for the moist one, you put in a plastic bag or a resealable container or something and mix the seed with an equal volume of moist sawdust or clean builder's sand or vermiculite or something. So if you have a tablespoon of seed, you want a tablespoonful of vermiculite or something like that. So equal parts, okay, and put that in the baggie. And also make sure that's moist vermiculite. Then you refrigerate it just above freezing. So it wants to be from 34 to 38 degrees. Do not freeze these. Part of that is because it is wet. Okay, so you don't want to freeze those. Most flower seeds require 3 to 4 weeks of treatment. Legume seeds generally only require 10 to 15 days. And some flowers even require 2 to 3 months. So it all depends on the seed, the plant that you're going for and everything. And like Dave said earlier, you should be able to find that out from whoever you're buying the seed from. And it should be on the packet of seeds or whatever. And if it's things that you're trying to harvest yourself, like milkweed was one. If you wanted to gather milkweed seed so you can plant more milkweed around, or let's say you're going to the in a ditch you found, you want to put some milkweed around in your property, but you don't have any. So you've gone somewhere else into another field or a ditch or something, and you find a milkweed pod there and you get it and you bring it home. It's like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this seed? How do I do that? So that's where you're going to have to do some research. You're going to have to get the Google thing going again, and just trying to figure out, or have what is it, seed to seed book or something like that. So anyway, if somebody's wondering, it's like, why would I plant milkweed? They're a weed that to create problems all over, and they just did it. They bring in butterflies like nobody's business. So if you want butterflies all over your property, plant some milkweed. And I think they bring in the monarchs, if I'm not mistaken, right, Dave? Because I know that you've worked at planting some milkweed. Um, so anyway, the moist stratification is, yes, Kathy, absolutely. You don't want to freeze it. You just put it in just above freezing, 34 to 38 degrees for however long that particular seed needs. So then after you remove it from the refrigerator, it can be put into pots or flats. So because the seed hasn't germinated, but it's ready to go. You've told it what it needs, and it's gotten its dormancy, it's gotten its cold, it's gotten its moist stuff. So you can put it in there. Then it can be diluted with a much larger amount of soil or something, or even direct seed it into your soil. So if it's something that, we have a short growing season. So if I want to direct sow something in my garden that's going to take longer than the 190 to 100 days that I have, I might want to moist stratify it first for 10 days or something, or 3 weeks or whatever, and get that in there, and then get it out in the garden, and it's gonna help it going more. So again, you have to, there's thousands of seeds out there, so you have to figure out what your seed needs and what it needs to do. Some of the examples of the trees that do really well, let's say you want to expand your trees in your property or something like that. But so you collected milkweed, opened the pot after getting dried the inside, planted yet that fall. We have 3 areas. So cool, Kathy. See, that's so great. And it's unfortunately, a lot of those things just get sprayed in other areas, and then we don't have the butterflies going to them. But if you guys, and then of course the beneficials that you have for your gardens are doing that. So you had 0 luck with milkweed. Yeah, so it might help. So dogwood, you want to collect the fruits or the berries when they are red and the seeds are mature from a dogwood tree. If the collection is delayed too long, the birds might eat the berries. So remove the pulp, clean the seeds, and air dry them. Then provide moist pre-chilling in a refrigerator for 3 to 4 months. Seeds can be planted in the fall, but they will not germinate until spring. So that's kind of like an example. I know I went through that fast, but that's an example of what to do for dogwood seed if you want to start 3 or 4 more dogwood trees and plant them on your property. I have camellia, which I know is a plant, and crabapple. So collect the fruits as they begin to soften when the seeds are brown. Remove the fruit pulp. Provide 1 to 4 months of cold, moist stratification. Then seeds will germinate in 30 to 60 days. Again, that's a long stretch of time before it even gets to a germination. And so, here it'd be like just coming out of that cold, moist stratification in May and maybe even the beginning of June. And then all of a sudden it's like, they'll germinate in 60 days. And it's like, okay, summer's over with almost, Oh my goodness. Get a couple butterfly bushes also. Yes, those are beautiful. Oh my gosh. Your local wild milkweed is doing well. The seed you bought from memory did well. Okay. I don't have any, Dave, and I haven't gone looking for them, and that's something that is on my list, but it's kind of far down on my list to do because I do get butterflies in and everything. But oh, you're asking JB. That's right. Okay. So I need to try some of. Hey, Tinker's wife. Hello. How are you? So it's crabapple, and then holly, golden rain tree, redbud, maple, nandina, oak, pine, southern magnolia. Here you go, Patty G. Remove the fleshy pulp from the magnolia, whatever the pods are or something. Moist pre-chilling for 2 to 4 months is needed if not planted in the fall. So then we have southern wax myrtle. So anyway, there's whole different seed treatments for according to all the different seeds. So okay, so we had our dry stratification, our moist stratification, and then there's a thing called double dormancy. So with all of these other seeds needing the winter to go through, that's their dormant time. Okay, right? Just like the garlic, putting it in the fall, it needs to be in the ground to be dormant and go through the cold process, and then it'll come to life in the spring. It's amazing what the different seeds need, isn't it? Some are just like, nope, I can't do that. I can't handle the cold. And others are like, bring it on. It's like, I want to freeze. It must be Minnesotan. So anyway, a double dormancy. So there are a few seeds that like do this, but these particular seeds must spend 2 consecutive winters in the ground in order for the seed to break the dormancy. That's a long time to wait. 2 dormancies. Now, as I was researching this, I was Googling the question and I couldn't find it, but Patty, you might be able to answer this for me. So for a double dormancy, in these others, stratification and scarification, but the stratification, you can fake the dormancy, right? Put it in the freezer, you can fake it type of thing, or mimic it, imitate it. Can you do the same with a double dormancy? Can you imitate it by, let's put it in the freezer for 2 months, and then you take it out and let it sit for maybe a week or 2, and then put it in the freezer again for another month or 2, and then take it out, and then it'll start germinating. I was just wondering, because it would be like, that'd be cool. They didn't give any examples of the plants that need the double dormancy, but that is a tough seed to do. That is a tough one. Oh, good. I stumped you on something too. Oh my goodness. But so yeah, so I was just wondering about that because again, different things. So now a lot of times you will, and this happens to me too, even when I start seed indoors and everything, there's some things that just don't germinate, right? You might plant 6 of the little pods in a thing, and you get 3 that'll pop up, or 2, or like you're going, the seed is bad, it didn't germinate. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was a bad seed. It just meant that it's dormant, and maybe the environment wasn't right for that particular one. So if it didn't have sufficient moisture, temperature, oxygen, maybe the species was different and it just didn't have its dormancy, didn't have, whatever it needed. And so that really helps me too, because I think that I ended up buying bad seed, or it's like, this company just sells terrible things. It's like it reflects on them, but not realizing that, well, maybe the seed needed something else, right? Maybe a butterfly bush is a double dormancy. Oh, It only comes up every other year. Is that an annual or is it a perennial butterfly bush? I mean, I guess it would have to be a perennial if you have to cut it back every spring. Okay. So, anyway, so I have, yeah, cold stratification, winter sowing. Let me just see what it's like. I think my tulips are like that too. Any bulbs and different things like that. They grow 10 to 12 feet. Wow, that is so cool. Um, the tulips will come up, they'll die back, and the bulb stays in the ground through the rest of the summer and through the winter. And in the spring, as soon as the sun starts warming up the soil, it gets enough moisture, everything else, it starts coming up. Now, inevitably, because really all of my tulips are in a bed against the southern part of my house, which gets the sun and it warms it up. But then we'll get freezes or more snow, different things like that. So there are many springs where they'll grow halfway up and then it'll get way below freezing and kind of kill them off a little bit. Put them in a dormancy or something. But so it's always a win when they just can make it through that and they can get 15 inches tall and gorgeous and everything else. And it's so fun to have that first riot of color that goes on. Oh, it's such a treat. That's why I love having them. So what else did you guys say? You have chives coming up right now. They're about 3 inches already. Chives or chives or chives? I'm not familiar with chives. Very cool. Well, after our 20 inches of snow last week, things are really buried now. So it's going to be a little, okay, chives. It's going to be a little while. I was telling my neighbor, it's like, we might get rid of some of these snowbanks by May, maybe. It's like the ones that are going to be in shade and like tucked into my lilac bushes and things like that. I think they'll be there for a while. So anyway, yes, you want to just imitate what nature's doing, imitate what the seeds need, and again, find out what they need. So, and it lists common plants. Oh, thank you, Miss T. Lilies, dogwoods, junipers, and lilacs. Oh, okay. So lilies need to know. Here's the deal with double dormancy. The exterior seed coat needs to be scarified. The interior needs stratification from cold. I'm thinking you could cut or scratch the coat and then put it in the cold. Oh, there you go. So if you scarified it, would you need to soak it then first and then maybe let it dry and then put it in the freezer or something? I don't know. Yeah, Kathy, we all did. That's double dormancy: wild strawberry, wild blueberry, chokecherry, red osier, black huckleberry, serviceberry, sweet fern, switchfoot. Ooh, thank you, Michigan daffodil. Do I ever think of moving southward? For those of you who don't know, I actually lived in Louisiana, southern Louisiana, on like Pontchartrain, for 13 years. And so, no, I do not want to go back in the deep south. I like the north, but thank you. Yeah, it was too much heat and humidity for me. And I am definitely a northern girl, that's for sure. And it was like I endured it pretty much. So, oh, Patty, thank you. That would be awesome. Thought the last freeze you killed all your potato plants. You have 2. Very good. Oh, Oh, Matt and Sarah, you must have gotten a lot more rain. I didn't get very much here. Um, I mean, it did affect it a little bit, but things are just kind of getting a little. The all the snow, yeah, is like softer and kind of squishy. Gave up humidity and hurricanes, snow. Yeah. I grew up here, so I was born and raised Minnesotan. So, and yeah, you found it. Oh, awesome. Yeah, a true northerner I am. I know, from one extreme to the other, right? I'm gonna give a shot of that, Patty. Thank you. Thank you for checking on that for me. Um, all right, we've got a few minutes left, but I wanted to give you my garden tip for tonight is to do some, when you are getting ready to do your soil amendments, and which means like, what am I going to put into my garden beds this year in the way of, whether it's compost or peat moss or leaves or just, whatever you're putting in there. Um, really do your research and really check out the sources and anything, because last year so many people had so much problem with even organic things that were purchased, in bags and stuff like that. Well, not even in bags. I mean, just even from companies, like truckloads of stuff that was laced with insecticides and not insecticides. Yeah. Herbicides. Sorry. It was laced with a lot of herbicides and stuff in there. And so it was killing off all their plants. It would start to grow and then they would just die off. So it was like, whole season of gardening was just killed off. And so really, really do your research and check into that to make sure that what you have is really good. If at all, if you're able to at all. And I know I don't produce enough stuff in order to really be able to get much because I have a small place here. But if you're able to create your own compost, create your own stuff, that's really the best because you know what's going into it, right? You know that your garden waste or your yard waste hasn't been sprayed or, different things like that. So, yes, herbicide. Thanks. Your favorite is rabbit poop. And you do very well with that too, Kiri. Excellent. So glyphosate is the big one. Okay. Thank you. Oh, Grazon. Okay. Is Grazon the chemical or is that the brand name? So you had a long day too. So no worries. I've been putting in some major long hours too on a website, so I'm a little fried myself. So just do your research though, and to really, before you start putting things in and making sure, because like a lot of the people who got some bad stuff last year, and I don't know what some of the brands were, but it's going to take 3 years probably for the soil to finally get through and to be able to be okay again. Because you think the straw at herbicides, you know what? So true. Grazon is the one they spray on hay to kill other weeds. It's the one just, okay, that's what happened. And she's talking about Jess at Roots and Refuge. So you have lots of slips coming on your sweet potatoes. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Joy. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, Kathy. That's so great. Okay. Then my prep tip for the night is start getting into the final stages of any of your winter projects. Because, guys, it's the end of February already. It's like, I know, I mean, for me, I have like 2 months yet, but it's still, time goes so fast because, I mean, you get taxes and there's Easter and there's just all of a sudden, boom, 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 things start happening. And we're in May and it's spring and we've got to be outside in the garden and doing all things. So anyway, just start, if you have winter projects going on, whatever it is, if you're in the middle of cleaning out your garage, or if you're building something or doing so, like I've been doing a lot of cleaning and purging of a lot of my rooms and trying to get some things streamlined here in the house and set up. And I can get on a roll with that, and it's like continuing on, but it's like I don't want to be halfway done with something and then have to put it up until next November, you know? So it's like, because once spring comes and I have to be outside, it's like that's where all the focus is. So anyway, you're making birdhouses for chickies. Oh, fun. Fun, fun, fun. So it is taken up through the root of the plants, not the leaves, so the hay takes it up, it doesn't die. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate that, Patty. So anything with grays on, you guys, be careful with that. So yes, if you get straw for your garden or anything like that, make sure it comes from an organic gardener or organic farmer, all that kind of stuff. So you have duck eggs in the incubator. You're working on spring stuff. Well, you in the South, it's like you're already planting and doing all that kind of stuff. But so your window for winter projects is much narrower than mine. but anyway, we look forward to having these things. We have to plan these things and have them for our winter so that we've got it all done and ready to go. So anyway, you have snow peas in the ground. Cool. Now, got one quilt made this winter. Oh, well, there you go. All right, guys, thank you so much for being with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you to all my moderators. It's a blessing that you don't have to be super busy on my channel. And I appreciate you being here every single week. You guys are wonderful. And you guys just have a great week. Be careful out there if it's icy. Take care on the roads. Matt and Sarah, I'm glad that you stayed in after the one drive out. So there you go. But yes, have a blessed week. So take care. God bless. Always have hope. And we will see you next Monday. Good night, everyone.